Hello, we're back again. All dry. Still got my very dark blue and my red. I'm going to get a little bit of this blue, a little bit of this red, mix it in. Pretty strong. I still want it to be a little on the dark, on the blue side. Keep it kind of dark. Turn it a deep violet. Now, that violet will turn whatever's brownish and tan to a deeper black color. Alright? And we'll just let it wipe on down. I want it to be even a deeper color. This is less water, more paint. Okay. You don't have to be so precise. You're not really there yet. I'm just mixing some more color, more blue, then red. I still want it to keep its deep, dark violet color. Really dark. Okay. And just keep stroking downward, like so. Really darken that color up. As it dries and evaporates, it will lighten up a tad, just a tad. Okay. And we'll just work on from there. After, I'll just add more water, getting the rest of the blue, just a little bit of the red. Like I said, I want a little more blue than red. Give it that deep, dark, rich feeling. As you can see, some of the light brown will be turning black. More paint. Let me back up here. More paint than water, but still light enough. I'm using the rest of the blue, some of the red. Still got like water on the brush a little bit. And just darken it right up in here. Especially in this area here, I want it particularly dark down on the bottom. Okay. Still see all the colors. It's quite dark. Darker. Still got some of the light areas in it. Okay. Some of the streaks, as you can see, are aiming downward, which is fine. If you want, you desire, you can dry brush additional color and texture on this piece. Alright? Even little highlights here and there. Depends on how detailed you want to go with it. Okay? Because I already have little ideas I would like to do with this. I can take some of the dark ink and mix it with my red and then dry brush it. Patterns and all sorts of fun stuff with it. Alright? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on, let me rinse this brush out real quick here. I like to work on another little technique I just want to show you. I didn't really have a painting or anything planned for this particular piece. I just wanted to show you that method really. But since I'm already on this subject, okay, I am going to create a nice little water line, maybe around here, just around here. I'll keep it straight. About right there. Okay. Nice little water line. Best thing you do is keep the water line as straight as possible. Okay. Here below will be the water line. Alright. Excuse me. I'm going to get some plastic. Just regular run-of-the-mill plastic. Okay. And what I'm going to do is take the edge, pull it. I'll pull it, tape it. I'm going to wet some paint. Okay. And put the paint on there. Streak the paint, or let it, streak the paint a little bit and let the plastic do its work. Okay. So, right around there. That's all I need. I will take the plastic, pull it with the tape, pull it with the tape, put it with the tape, or I'll just let it crinkle up just like that, and let it dry just like that. Then you peel it off, and you have very interesting wave patterns if you would like to go that route. Okay, and since that's what I really would like to do with this, I'll just aim it kind of in that direction. But what I'm going to do is get me a little blue, just a small amount of phthalo blue. I am going to make a nice little moist underpainting of green first. A little green. This is a sap green. And maybe a slight touch of yellow with the sap green. And I'll let it dry a little bit because I want the blue to be on top of that color. Okay. I'm going to wet my brush just a little bit. Get some green. Put a little yellow in it. Like so. And just pretty much like that. As you see, I have too much on, it's streaking away. That's way too much, but it's okay. As you can see, it's streaked. Alright. You see I just taken some of the color off. That's fine. All can be corrected. Hashtag do not panic. Not too much water. I'm glad these little accidents actually happen. Am I in the way? I want you to see what I'm doing. Yellow, green, not necessarily mixing it. Just let it streak away. Because remember, when it dries, the blue is going on top of it anyway. Just keep doing it. Okay. And just lightly go over it. Let it do what it's doing. Remember, I'm working with gravity here, so everything's going downward, which is fine. That is okay. Very okay. So don't worry about it. Okay. This here, if your eye keeps going to that little error, don't cry. Don't panic. It's okay. Another thing about dried ink, when you wet it again, the color comes back. Something like that. And as it dries, see that? See what I just did? When it dries, you'll never know it was there. So, once again, for the overly cautious and concerned, panic not. There. Correct it. Don't cry. It's alright. All will be fine. Just off some coffee. And just relax. I will let this dry. Well, it's just about dry now. I'm going to take... Actually, let me prepare this right now. I'm getting some tape. Plastic. I'm going to get it prepared now. Once it's on there, you can pull it as much as you want, whatever angle you want. Okay. When I'm ready for it. Just let it drape. It's okay. Now for the dark blue. I'm going to put the blue. You have to water the blue down. Alright. Not too much like the last faux pas I did. But just enough to keep it moist for a while until you get it all done. pretty much like that. Okay. Now, since you got a wider area here, I'm going to still keep the paint a little thick and just go downward with it in streaks. Let it stay pretty damp. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let it bleed. Let it bleed through. That's okay. I'm going to keep going down because this has to be kind of on the moist side. Okay. It's okay. Just a little bit of water. As I get down towards the bottom, I can pick up some of that pooling if it happens to do it. And I'm going to keep the streaks horizontal. Okay. Now remember, this stuff dries fast, so you're going to have to work kind of fast to keep the moisture in. That's already pretty damp. That's okay. Alright. This is okay too. I'm just tapping, getting rid of some of that out of there. Take your wrapper, give it a nice little tug, press right on in there. Okay. Now, if it flops over like so, whoops, don't panic. Take it and just press right into it, like so. And just let it do what it does. Now, while that's doing that, it's going to get all sorts of little interesting little striations and little patterns. Okay. Now, if it's, because I remember it does dry pretty fast. If it's not giving you enough pattern, lift her up, just wet it. Put it right back. Tape it up. Same thing on this side. If it's not giving you what you want, just re-wet. It'll moisten up what you got underneath. Just re-wet, press, and just tape it back. Just like that. You want all sorts of little gaps and all sorts of weird, odd things happening with it. And you just work with it from there. We'll leave it like that for a second. All sorts of interesting things you can do. Painting and experimenting. Okay. And we'll let it dry. Let it cool up. And just let it dry. If you get like the little bleed through here, don't cry about it. It'll be covered up anyway. Just wipe it away, cover it up like I'm going to do with that. And then we'll get to some of the shading and some of the texture here in the front. Add streaks in horizontal fashion and make it look like waves. You can always work with it, with what's going on in this picture, in this part of the painting here. Okay. Then we'll work on some type of sky of some sort. And then I'm going to show you something pretty cool to do with a border all the way around. And then that'll be it. But basically, this whole tutorial was just different effects you can do. You don't necessarily have to do a castle. I mean, this streaky pattern can be used for a marble table if you're doing fruit. It could be, I don't know, the siding of a house, top part of a roof, a floor for architectural drawing if you do it in perspective. All sorts of stuff you can do. Because if you do a pattern like this and you see it's all one color, if you do it in perspective, well, whatever's towards you is darker, okay? Or if you want it darker in the distance, you would just fade it with layering, glazing, and you get the effect you want while still having the interesting pattern. And that's the great thing about glazing. Alright. Now, I can take this stuff off. Like so. Throw this stuff in the eternal recycle bin, i.e. the garbage. And there you go. You see your interesting little patterns. Okay. That, and just tap that away. Now remember what I said about dried ink? Now I have green on this brush, but since this dried ink is darker than that green, just let it just fade it away. All you need is really a little touch. Okay. This is 2-ply Bristol. Got a very smooth surface. A little darker in here. Now, there. I'll just let this dry up a little bit. Keep going downward with it. Just play with it. Play with it in the side here. Down here I'm going to have it much darker, whatever. I'm going to do something with it, but that's hidden by the border. If you do little touch-ups, little corrections, remember to always make it a habit to dry your brush. Alright, just don't let it sit around saying, oh, I'll get to it. No, don't do that. You really don't want those hairs to tack up on you. Okay. While this is doing what it's doing, I can mess with it with the green and blue and make a little wave patterns, yet not destroying the total structure of what's going on with it. Alright. We can do a little bit of that now, since the tape is running. So I'll take a little bit of blue, a little bit of red, make it a little dark here. Blue, red, and I'm going to mess around with a little green. Get it pretty dark. Get a little water, not much, because you want this paint to stay where you place it. Okay. And if you want, like I say, horizontal streaks here and there. Little flowing streaks. Something like that. And just keep going at it. You don't want to cover everything. You kind of want them to be a little tighter towards the rear, and you have it a little looser once you get up closer. As long as you have it flowing in one direction. All I'm using is, once again, sap green, phthalo blue, okay, and the cad red. I want a little deep color. It will appear black. It's not, but it's interacting with the green that you have on here. Okay. Now, as I make these little haphazard little streaks, very, very random. Okay. You're going in a horizontal direction. And you can add highlights to this chaos and kind of narrow down all that randomness. Alright. But as I'm doing this, as I'm talking to you, and you're looking at it, you can see that the ocean is starting to take its shape. But not only is your eye following the horizontal pattern of what you placed, but you're looking at the chaotic mix that was made by the plastic. And your eye will place it all under one image. So you're creating an optical illusion of movement, random disorder, okay, which kind of fits in the mood of a creepy looking Raggedy Castle. Alright, getting a little more blue, a little more red. Alright, I want just a touch of water on the corner of the brush. Don't need much moisture. Like I said, you still want it thick enough to where you place it, it sticks. Like I say, the strokes can get a little longer. The color can get a little darker when it comes towards you. All in here. Keep it in a horizontal way. Left to right. Okay. All in here. Just like so. I want it a little darker in that area for the simple reason of it's so close to the castle. And I really don't want no light area in this part here. Make sure I'm not out of your way. I want you to see. I'm going to go that way, and then I really want this. I don't want no light area here. Like so. Nope, I want it darker there too. All in here. I want it kind of deep, dark. Set it right in there. Just like so. Now you got this funky, greenish, blue, black type of thing happening. Because of the streaks, it still got the underlying pattern. Alright? You got that bright yellow still under there. The yellow-green mix. But you got all this stuff happening all in here, but it's going in a horizontal direction, which your eyes will equate to it being water. Okay. This will be even darker, but I'm going to use more dry brush type shading for the rocks. I already see the pattern. I want the pattern, as you see, is going downward, and we're going to arrange our darkness, our cragginess, and our look to aim downward. Alright, so I'm going to wait till the water dries. This is thinly, this is put on thinly, and so it's probably dry already. See, it's already dry. Okay, I'm going to remove this. Well, I don't want to remove it yet. I'm going to get some white. Now I got color on this little bowl. I will mix this white in with that color. I'm going to use a liner brush. I have white mixed in with the dark blue, and I'm going to wet the brush. This is really great to do. It's like making a game. And you just want a lighter shade of the color, underlying color. All I'm doing is rubbing that color, the white, in with it just to tint that color. Tint the white. Okay. Now, you have to play with the consistency of your titanium. This is titanium white, it's opaque. Play with the consistency a little bit. Alright. Around this part here where you have the tape, just a little bit. I don't care if it's a little uneven, it's alright. You got the tape blocking it. And remember, you got it going downward. So, if you're on the tape, it's fine. Just want to highlight a little bit of the horizon line. I'm going to take the tip of the highlight brush. Remember, everything horizontal, okay? On top of the dark streaks, just go horizontal. The paper's uneven, that actually helps you out. Okay. Now as it's dry, you know the color settles in. It gets a little darker. So you might want to make it a little, I'm out of your way here, a little brighter than you think comfortable, which is fine, because remember, the color will settle in. Alright, you have to keep playing with your mixer. You want it to be thick, but easy enough to flow off the tip of your brush. Alright, make it as uneven as you can, but yet still make it horizontal. All I'm doing is twirling my brush around in the ink itself. I'm playing around with the dark areas of the painting here and there. As you get closer, okay, you can keep just piddling around with it here. Get a little more, I'm just dipping into the water, twirling my brush around in the paint. Like I say, as this dries, see the waves can get a little thicker as you get closer here. The wave lines anyway. What I'm talking about. I'll do a tutorial later on about water and how you highlight it and such. Alright, like I say, this is just a quick tutorial to show you what to do when you do these little effects and how you can use them to your advantage. Okay. A couple of haphazard type of things already happened with the castle, with the paint overflowing and such. It's okay. You know, it can always be corrected. Always. As you can see, the paint has dried up top, sunk into the color a little bit, and it's not as vibrant. Alright, because you know, the acrylic will evaporate quickly, and the color settles in, and it dulls the color a little bit. So, you can take your hand, if you want, little highlights here and there. This is more paint than anything else I have, and it's going to maintain some of that brightness. Just here and there, little sporadic things. Okay. Now, the painting is not going to have the effect that you might want because you've got an all-white background. You got to color that background. Okay. Everything will have a totally different look once that background's colored in. But as of right now, if you don't notice, your water is darker than your foreground. So your foreground can be darker yet still. Okay. Remember, when it dries, you can still see the underlying patterns. You can still see the colors. Alright. I can actually go back over that with a darker color. Or I can take the rubbing alcohol, go over it, take the ink and drip it and do it all again, but just splatter outward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down. I'm going to use some light glaze, put that down first. Then I'm going to put the rubbing alcohol on top of that and let it just do whatever, but on a flat surface. And I'm going to show you the effect it does with the castle. This will be all fine and dry. It's probably dry now. And I'm going to show you what happens. Alright? Be right back. Okay. We're back. When I do these transitional cuts and everything, it doesn't take a long time for this stuff to dry. So basically, maybe a few minutes passes by. It's not as long as you think. What I have is brown and some of this dark mixture from the Higgins ink mixed together. I gotta keep it watery. It's gonna be dark, but not so dark where it's gonna hide all your detail. But it's not gonna matter because we're gonna create some more detail. Alright. And I'm going to, it's flat, and as you see what I'm doing here, I'm going to put it all on here rather loosely. It has to be kind of damp. Work quickly. Alright, there's more moisture on here than anything, because this is darker than the background beneath it. When I add the rubbing alcohol, wait till you see the effect it's going to get. Remember, your background, your foundation has to be darker than lighter. Excuse me. Your foundation has to be lighter than the dark background it's going over it. Okay. Let's pretty dark, yes? Still work kind of quickly, but watch what happens when I spray the rubbing alcohol on it. Watch what happens. Remember, it has to be pretty wet, fairly dark, so the effects can take place with it. Now, if you see through the camera, I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see the effects that's going on with it when you place it pretty dark on there. Now, some areas are not as prominent as I would like them to be because it's not as dark. I'm just putting away. I'm putting some more ink in the in my bowl. Mix it with the brown. Put a little water in it. A little more water to get the marbling effect that I'm trying to show you. Because it does have to be pretty dark. And I'm gonna go down here. There we go. See how dark I got it? Now you're thinking, well, what do you got all these patterns down for if you're going to make it that dark? Watch what happens. It does have to be pretty dark for the effect to work. And as long as it's wet, see, it has to be wet for the changes to take place. So don't worry about all the streaking disappearing and all of that. Just wait till you see the results, what happens when I finish. I'll do that too. Now you think I just wasted a bunch of time. It hit everything, right? Now you'll see the magic happen. Take the spray bottle here, rubbing alcohol, just give it a couple of taps, and you'll see it magically start to form. The more you put on, the more it'll splatter and the effects will happen. Now as it's working, and it is, it's breaking up the color underneath. It's going to make all sorts of interesting little patterns. Alright. Now, even some of the light spots, you can work with that. But I'm going to let this dry. It's rubbing alcohol. It's pretty warm in here, and it'll take. And that's basically how I do some of those odd, strange patterns that you see. I'm just rubbing it off the tape. Okay, some of it kind of pools and leaks. It does cause a mess. Don't worry about it. Don't cry. It's no big deal. All right, and I'm gonna let this sit. Let it dry, and we're going to work on the castle with what you see, whatever happens. I'm going to turn this camera that you see the texture here. See that? See all that's going on? Okay. All up there on the top. I'll pull back. You see the whole thing. There you go. Okay. So have no fear. It'll all come together. Once we're done with this and let it pool and cake up, let it totally dry, we'll add some brick texture. We'll take these windows off. Remember, I had windows in there, right? This is now darker than the water itself. Alright? And we're going to do something with that sky back there. What color I want it, who knows? But I got something planned for that sky. Remember, I'm still going to work on this border here also, so I'm turning this into another whole project. It's totally totally right off the top of the dome as I'm doing it. The longest part of doing this will be the drying of the rubbing alcohol and the ink, and I shall return and we'll really work on this castle. The castle will be placed back on the easel, camera will be put back in its position, and we'll go on from there. Stay tuned.